Hello, I'm Erin and I'm the host of today's show. Today's topic is time banks, what they are and how they work. Today my guests are
Kelly Willis from the Pinion Project in Cortez.
Joe Mahoney from Catholic Charities of Pueblo.
And I'm Kelsey Paul, and I'm with Children's Hospital Colorado.
Thank you guys all so much for being here. First of all, could you tell me what a time bank is?
A time bank is the idea of giving a strength of yours to someone else, and that person going to the next person, and so it becomes a cycle. Everyone has something to offer to somebody else, so it's the idea of offering to each other to help each other and bringing people together.
Could you offer an example of what that might look like?
So Joe, he may be able to offer to help me move, and so then I have a real strength in scrapbooking, so I can offer that to Karen, and then Karen could have a strength of babysitting for Joe's kids, and so it just becomes a cycle of helping each other out.
Great. What are some of the benefits of time banks?
Well, the benefits are it can bring a community much closer together. Folks who need help can get that help. Folks who have something to offer can offer the help.
Do you run into people who don't have something to offer very often?
I think if they look at it, everyone has something to offer.
Even if it's just cleaning your house or helping make your bed or go to the grocery store. I mean, little things like that is something anyone can offer.
That's great. What are some of the drawbacks, would you say, of time banks?
Well, one of the only drawbacks would be that if somebody were to take a service from the time bank and not reciprocate. And then the other thing that comes to mind would be somebody not doing a good job. If they, if they did some sort of service for you and it wasn't quality.
Sure, that makes sense. So what got you guys interested in the idea of time banks? Where did you hear about this and how did you learn about it?
Well, we, as a class, a group of us, we went to the Morehead Rec Center, and they helped the area of Aurora, their community, and they came up with the idea. And what was very interesting to me was just how they brought a community together and how they, I don't know, they were just helping each other, and it was great to see that.
That's fantastic. So what are some of the benefits you've seen it bring to that community?
Well, one of the things you're going to see is that people are going to get to know their neighbors more. They're offering these services, so again, you'll get a much tighter-knit community.
Sure.
And like, if you can't afford, to go take classes, your next door neighbor could provide that for you free of charge, which is really great.
Everybody has needs and everybody has something to offer, so putting the two together just really makes a lot of sense in a community.
And folks who may not feel, those people who say, I don't have anything to offer, will realize, yes, you do.
That sounds very empowering. Yes. So you kind of just answered this, but how do time banks strengthen communities?
I think it's just the idea of bringing everyone together. You may not know your neighbor or people 2 blocks away, but they hear about the time bank and they could call you up, or it's just working together, and eventually as more people get involved, you get tighter and tighter, and it just continues.
So that you know the person who lives across the street or down the street.
And they're always there for you, So what's great too is, like, if I need something right away and then I need something again, like, I know I owe 2 hours of service, but I know I can always give that, but if I need something and I haven't given that 2 hours yet, you may always be there, which is great.
That is a really great idea. So for our watching audience, if they decided that they wanted to start a time bank, how would you recommend getting one started? Like, what would be the basic steps?
Really, you need one person who is good with community outreach, someone who will go put signs up on community boards or go door to door and tell people about this, time bank. You also need a database, a way to keep track of what skills each person is offering, how many hours they've worked, how much they've got in the time bank, how much they've used from somebody else.
And how would you, so building that database, you'd build that by going around in the community and then collecting the skills. Would you say that maybe an option for a time bank, somebody could be the manager of the time bank, and they could build their own. Would that be an
manager,
opportunity?
Community coordinator,
Sure.
anything like that.
Sure, that's great.
I mean, it takes two people to, to just get it going, right? So, and then
Yeah.
from there,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
it unravels, so.
Wonderful. So who specifically is most helped by these?
Everybody in the community. I think it brings together the youth, the elderly, those that have fewer resources, those that have a lot of the resources in communities. It just connects everybody. There's nobody left out of the community.
Okay. All right, well, can we talk a little bit more about the specifics? Like, can you maybe give me the specific model of like length of time that people put in and some more examples of the jobs that are actually involved in that? Do you guys mind going into a little bit more detail about that?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
You start really with a 1 hour block.
Okay.
That's your standard. The values may change. A 1 hour effort from a plumber is going to be worth 1 hour of me babysitting. You treat it as 1 hour of service.
Okay, so there's no disparate level of value, even though a plumber may have training and the person who's babysitting might not. It's all equal in the time bank.
Right, it's 1 hour of a person's time.
Okay, great. That's
And some things may take up more than 1 hour, but I mean, I think if you're going to get involved, you should just be ready to give 1 hour of your time. But like if you're doing yard work for somebody, that could, take 4 hours. But it's all relative, and you just add it up and it gets in your time bank, so.
great. So on a broader scale, how would you say this benefits the nonprofit sector?
Well, it's a way to get your message out to the community and to interact more with the community. So that at Catholic Charities, we have all these services, nurturing, parenting, La Familia Forte. Folks will hear about these as they're coming in and interacting with other members. So they may call and say, I think I need this from the time bank. Well, you also have an agency providing this service, so you can use them.
Okay, great. And how about in your particular community, how would you say that this would?
I think it would just strengthen the community in the way that it would allow people to feel valued. Everybody has something to offer, and most people don't. They want to give back. They want to become connected. They just don't know how. And this opens the door for people to really become active in their community and just empowers a lot of different levels.
Well, especially like in our economy today, a lot of people can't donate money because they just can't afford it. So this is a great way to donate time and quality things to people around you. And one woman we met, she has people, younger people, because she's older, come do yard work, and she can't do that anymore. So she has that value of her house still because people are helping her, and then she gives back in a way that she can, which is really great.
Do you see any potential for something like a time bank at Children's, since you work at Children's Hospital?
I think so. I think it would be in the sense of talking to families maybe that are in the same situation. For example, I could go, if I've been in a certain situation with my disability, I can go talk to another family and give them my experiences and so forth, and that's an hour of my time, and just helping them cope with it, and then so on and so forth. It would really build the network at Children's, which would be great.
Yeah, I think it might be something really cool for that. So you guys are all part of the Regis Master's program too. Do you see it being a benefit to Regis, something like this there too? How would you involve students in this if you were to create a time bank at Regis?
Well, one of the advantages at Regis would be because so many of us are online students. This doesn't have to be just the Denver community.
Really
this could be Pueblo, this could be Cortez, this could be Atlanta or Florida. I mean, it could be wherever the students are at. They could take this to all of their communities.
And even broader, I mean, you brought up the online. Could you see this being something that people could do strictly online? I mean, would it be practical in that way?
I think there are some things that would be practical that way, tutoring and studying, things like that for the student community themselves. But I think I think that there's also a really personal human element to it, taking it into a community. A one-to-one, face-to-face is as important as well. So I like the idea of it in a community with people that you can put a face to.
So you mentioned you went to Morehead Rec Center in Aurora, and can you tell me a little bit more about what that experience was like, the people you met there and who you interacted with there, and how they are using it specifically?
I think my reaction there was, wow. What they're doing in that community is great because there's a lot of negative things that people hear in this community about Original Aurora. But going there and seeing all the positive that's coming out of it, coming out of the time bank, coming out of Morehead, and just coming out of the parents that are trying to help their kids, you know, stay in school and stay out of trouble. That's what really struck me the most. And they're all just, I mean, they all just want to help and do good, which is great to see, and to break that stereotype and all those negative things that we all hear in the news.
Yeah.
So while other people may think, oh, this is not a good neighborhood, when you go and talk to the people there, they love it.
Yeah.
You know, this is our home. We're proud of it. There's some real community spirit.
And I think it's also an opportunity for modeling. You know, we saw tons of kids and their parents being involved in a time bank. That's also teaching the kids in the community to give back and to be proud of their community. So,
which is really important,
specifically
in that community as well, because that's, I mean, you just hear so many negative things, and if their parents are doing that when they're younger, I mean, what a great example.
Yeah, that's really teaching kids, you know, how to be donors and how to be, I mean, even if they're just donors of their time, I think that's really valuable. We talked a little bit about how it helps the nonprofit sector, but could you go into a little bit more of if someone wanted to get involved with this, what would be some steps they could take?
I think the first step would be go to the website that is currently in place for the time banks through the Morehead Rec Center, and that is ace.timebanks.org. And from there you can see how their website is running. It's a great resource to get more information.
And time banks are done all over the country, though, so there are probably other examples, I'd imagine. Maybe if you wanted to Google time banks, probably would bring up a lot.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Well, do you guys have anything else you'd like to add about time banks?
Get involved. Just do it. You know?
Just go out and
just
start.
jump in and start it up. Yes.
Okay, great. I really appreciate you guys all coming today. I feel like I've learned a lot about time banks, and hopefully everybody has.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and once again, Kelsey, Children's Hospital, Joe, Catholic Charities of Pueblo, and Kelly, and I never get
Pinion Project.
Pinion Project. That's right. Thank you guys all so much for coming. And we'd like to thank you all for joining us today. And thanks to our guests for being with us. And please join us again next week.